What is up, guys? Random footage from on here, and today we have a fun video. We're going to be working on my brother's Cima. Today we're going to be installing a cold air intake. I'm not sure the brand. Jonathan?
This isn't it.
He doesn't know either. We'll get the brand in a minute. It was pretty much the only intake available for the 96 Nissan Cima or like the 97 Infiniti Q45. So let me get the camera turned around. Let's walk out there and let's check out what we got to do to remove the stock intake and put the new intake on. All right, so he's getting everything laid out. What brand is it?
It's a WeaponR.
WeaponR. That sounds badass, I would think. So this is what we're dealing with stock. You have where it connects to the throttle body, comes out and runs into the big box. We're probably going to leave like the air catcher, dam, ram, whatever, because that's going to blow air onto the intake. But we'll see how the new intake looks and sits in this area. So we'll probably just go ahead and remove it. Let me help him get everything laid out. I'll show you that, and then I'll show you how to start removing everything, and we'll get to the next step. Okay, so as you can see, there's actually quite a few parts. I think that you have to extend like the PCV hoses and the MAF and everything. So we're gonna start out with step one. We're gonna go ahead and remove everything. So you're looking at two 10 mil bolts for this, from what I can tell, 4 for the box. You have 2 hose clamps, which we have to unclip. You have a wire harness down here, I'm pretty sure, for the MAF. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you guys where the correct place is. You also have this clip under here, which leads that we have to take this off as well, which looks to be like 5 10 mil bolts. So I'm gonna get everything removed and put out of the way. As you can see, it was just a bunch of 10 mil bolts. Even the clamps are 10 mil, and I'll show you guys what it looks like empty, and we'll start the install. Okay, so we have everything removed. We wiped around the throttle body and inside the throttle body, as well as we pulled apart the factory intake to get the MAF out, because you still need the MAF. It bolts up to a place on the aftermarket intake. I also, while it's out, we clean the mass airflow sensor as well with mass airflow cleaner. Don't use throttle body cleaner on that. Use what you need for that. So we clean that. We're letting it just dry out in the sun, and we're going to move on to the next step, which is starting to build this intake out. As you can see, we pretty much just disconnected everything in place. They do give you new hoses for pretty much everything, so I'll leave the factory hoses where they're at now, and then when we get to that point, I'll show you where the hoses connect to the new spot. So let's start building. Okay, so we're a few pieces in, but I just want to kind of stop and show you how it's going. So first, again, they comes with instructions, so I'm just kind of doing this for visual help. But first, coupling, first hose with the vents out, second coupling to the MAF, and they give you a provided mass airflow like flange thing to put the next coupling on. So this is where we're at now. We're gonna go ahead and continue to build, and I'll show you guys, how the intake looks and how to run all the hoses. Okay, so we have the intake completely built. We are missing a few things. So this is a 96 Nissan Cima. The intake is for
A 97 Q45.
all right, so there's a few things missing. Like, we do not have the air intake temp sensor. So I put some rubber washers and bolted it down. Now you might think, oh, well, what if that nut falls loose? There is a screen on the MAF, so I told him just check this every so often. But if it does drop the nut, it's just gonna hit the screen of the MAF and not affect anything anyways. He'll just have a little leak. We also have a charcoal canister. So our soft line here that they route normally to here goes to our charcoal canister. We're not gonna eliminate that because we don't wanna eliminate the whole hardline system around the whole entire engine bay that's connected to that. So what we're gonna do is leave the hose ran to the charcoal canister, and we're going to cap this end. We'll run up to the hardware store in a minute and get a small rubber cap for that. You also have to make sure you're building this at the right angle, or it seems like it won't fit. Seemed like we were fighting it, and then everything just fell into place perfectly. We also bent the charcoal canister over, just you can see like a 1/2 inch, just to give us a little bit more clearance for everything to fit a little bit better. The MAF is already plugged in, so now we are going to run the hosing. I'll show you guys that, and then if we have any steps after that, I'll show you as well what we need to do. I think there's a mounting bracket that goes somewhere right there, so let's get the mounting bracket on. we'll get the hoses ran, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. We'll go to the store, get the cap, and I'll show you guys some sound clips. We already got stock sound clips, so I'll be back in a few. Okay, we are done. So it's really not been too bad. I would say roughly about an hour, maybe hour and a half. But it's just been us trying to get everything to fit correctly and figuring out how to obviously plug that hole. So as you can see, it fits pretty nicely. It has this bracket. That was one of the steps we hadn't done yet. So a little rubber grommet and this, and you kind of just bend it. It's not the sturdiest bracket, I'll be honest, but it kind of got it up off the charcoal canister just that little bit. These are how we ran the vacuum hoses to this T. That way there was no, what's it called, like pinches. Even if we try, it's not gonna pinch that easy. And then we ran the other side up to over here. We're gonna go to the parts store and get, ouch, I just hit my head on this hood. It's been doing this all day to us. I'm gonna go get a rubber cap. We're gonna cap that, and then we'll get some sound clips. We don't really wanna rev it because that is a vacuum leak. We like tested it running and it ran fine, but I also don't want any sucking nastiness into the throttle body. So we're gonna go ahead and put the engine cover back on. We're gonna go up here to the parts store. I'm not gonna take you guys with because that takes too long. So here, check this out. Look, it's a plane. And we are back. Rubber cap's on it. It's not going anywhere. Everything else is done. We'll put the engine cover on in a minute. We washed it and we're letting it dry. So why don't you go turn this car on. I'm gonna stop this clip here. I want you guys to hear the stock revving, and then we'll do the intake revving after, so you can have side-by-side comparison. So we're gonna get the car started, let it warm up for a sec, probably throw the engine cover on real quick while it's warming up, and then we'll give you the sound clips. We'll be back in a few. Well, it's been a little bit. We filmed those clips and I went inside and cooled off. As you can see, it's pretty bright out here. I would say I'm pretty happy with how it sounds, I would imagine, Jonathan.
I definitely am.
So yeah, you can actually hear it in the car. When we go full throttle, you hear that whoo, like you actually hear it, which is sick. Plus he has an exhaust on it, so the car all around is just sounding good. So he's about to get going. I hope this video helped you if you're putting an intake on your Nissan Cima or Infiniti Q45. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.